Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Tim. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reviews, reactions, re-reviews, random thoughts, whatever the case may be, pretty much any type of video, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, CashApp, have that as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And Tim, it's not a reaction, but he wanted a review on a segment with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon from back in the day. It is on YouTube. If you type up, will Stone Cold join Mr. McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club from November 26, 2001. Again, it is on YouTube. And it was fun to watch this clip because it did remind me of when I used to watch wrestling. And I went away for a bit, then came back for a bit until I eventually went away, for the most part, for good. Just let me explain a bit, so bear with me. With wrestling, it was pretty much, I will admit, as a kid, Hulkamania. Just because of the way he was advertised, the way he was just put out there in terms of the toys, the merchandising, videotapes. So kids, some kids would think like one of the only wrestlers was Hulk Hogan. Maybe Ultimate Warrior, maybe Macho Man Randy Savage. But I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. The only wrestling I would have been able to see were those VHS tapes. At one point, we had these big box black VHS tapes. That was like WWF Superstars or WWF WrestleMania, and it was like kind of the best of, or Hulk Hogan, and a couple Hulk Hogan VHSs. So it would show like his match with Andre the Giant, his match with Ultimate Warrior, his match with Sergeant Slaughter. Even one had a match with him in Earthquake. And then I remember at one point my aunt sent us like a videotape of random, and I wish I had this, random segments from WWF Raw from the 90s. So that's how I knew about people like Razor Ramon and Tatanka, Berserker, the guy that tried to stab Undertaker with a fucking sword, Repo Man. Like because like, wow, I get to see all this stuff, and it's like, okay, in retrospect, a lot of it wasn't good stuff, but as a kid, it's like, wow, you get to see something instead of just the same Hulk Hogan match over and over again for the most part. But then got cable around 96, 97, and the Monday Night Wars, hearing people at school talk a little bit about stuff. And I would watch kind of back and forth between Raw and WCW, Nitro. And it was just a fun time. At times to go back and forth and see Goldberg versus Hogan, or see Stone Cold versus The Rock, or all the stuff he did to Vince McMahon. And that stuff was fun. Like, Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon is still my favorite rivalry. And all the classics, the beer truck, screwing up Vince McMahon's vehicle with like pouring cement in it. Vince is in a hospital and Steve Austin hits him with a bedpan. All those classics I still remember with fondness to this day. Now, at this time, November, the previous WrestleMania, which was what, April? WrestleMania 17, that's when he turned heel. Worst mistake he ever made in his career. The worst mistake. Because no one wanted to see him heel. Steve Austin felt that his character was dry. It was kind of been there, done that. Felt like there wasn't much more he could do. He worked as a heel back in the day as Stunning Steve Austin in WCW, so he wanted to try to do that again. But he became... I think at the time, it was the wrong time. I mean, you could argue there never would be a right time, but especially then was the wrong time. People didn't buy it. People didn't want to see it. People called, and me too. I'm like, that's bullshit. And then I stopped watching for a bit, for quite a while. And to be fair, like, this particular segment I had never seen before. So when I say, oh yeah, this segment was fun to watch, if I said rewatch, I didn't mean to say it that way. I meant to rewatch this era. This era of wrestling where, Steve Austin was a prime focus in a lot of the stuff. But that's why I'd never seen this bit before, because it's just like, what the fuck? I don't buy him as a heel. I don't buy him working for Vince McMahon after everything that's been done. Then you had the invasion angle, which was a total clusterfuck. Because, okay, WCW got bought out. But they were never going to treat WCW as an equal to WWF. So if that's the case, why would anyone ever believe that WCW could win? Oh, this WCW guy went against a WWF guy? Yeah, more than likely the WWF guy was going to win. Booker T, he was able to have a pretty good career. I still remember that stupid fucking match he had with Triple H. And all the promos Triple H would do, which was... when you listen to it, it's like, Booker T should have won just because of those shitty fucking promos Triple H gave on him, but no. Hell, he even continued later where Triple H beat Steen. Years and years and years later. So it just... and it didn't make sense that, wait, he's joining this now? Or, wait, Steve Austin's now going to join WCW? Which didn't make sense because he got fired from WCW, so why would he join that company? They lost a lot of viewers during that time. Because the people who were into WCW and didn't care about WWF, they didn't want to watch it. Because the thing they liked is gone. Or the bits that did like WCW, they hated the way their heroes or the people they were fans of treated like shit. Oh, they're treating people I like shit. Fuck this company. I ain't watching it. I ain't watching them turn to glorified jobbers. So they left. People didn't buy, like me, didn't buy Steve Austin's turn. And left for a bit. I came back for a bit around 2003. Because I remember, I think there was a time when Hulk Hogan was like Mr. America and there's this other stuff going on. But then Steve Austin retired. Well, pretty much retired. And then you have people like John Cena coming up, and I didn't give a fuck about John Cena. That's when I really turned away from wrestling. But I believe around this time, Steve Austin turned good guy babyface again at Survivor Series. Just something about his team lost the match, so it seemed like Steve Austin was gone. But then Ric Flair bought a share from Shane or some of the McMahon's. And Ric Flair's like, Vince, I guess we're partners. And that's how Steve Austin was still able to stick around for a bit. And then you had like him fighting Scott Hall at one of the WrestleManias, and because he didn't want to go up against Hulk Hogan. And then then Austin versus Rock in WrestleMania 19. But yeah, this segment here, it was a funny segment. So I guess this was... Okay, when was Survivor Series? Survivor Series... What was the date of that? No, not 2011, 2001. Does it say November 18th? So I guess the idea is that his team has lost, so it seemed like, okay, Steve, if you want to stick around, you have to kiss my ass and be part of the... For those who don't know, Vince McMahon had this Kiss My Ass Club that a few people joined. Like William Regal. Some were like knocked out. I think Shawn Michaels was knocked out and his face went to Vince McMahon's ass. Probably not the first or last time that has happened, to be honest. Because you hear things. Shawn Michaels probably sniffs ass too. Great wrestler, but shitty human being. Speaking of shitty human being, Vince McMahon. I'm sure he does a lot of things with his ass, including on the women. Listen, Vince McMahon, I think, is a terrible human being. He's a piece of vile human shit scum sucker of a retarded piece of shit. He's a dickhead. He's an asshole. Vince McMahon sucks. Is he a good performer, good heel? Yes. Because he's that way in real life. But I hate Vince McMahon. I hate Vince McMahon as a person, but he was a good character as Mr. McMahon. When he's talking to the crowd and is, you all look in the mirror and you see a genuine ass kisser. Come on, Steve, you don't have to kiss some fat, greasy Oklahoma ass. So making fun of Jim Ross, the racist. Just for those who don't know, Devon Dudley recently said that Jim Ross was racist towards him, and it seems like that was the case. Which is too bad because I like Jim Ross, but if you're racist, go fuck yourself. Now, one good thing, well, at the time it was a good thing that happened was during this 2001 period, Steve Austin came up with the what? What? Someone talks, what? Are you talking to me? What? You saying I should do this? What? It was a good thing because it got over with the crowd. They would start saying what with Steve. And I bet it sold a shitload of signs, t-shirts. It's definitely stuff. It's one of the big things people remember about Steve Austin during that year. Was him coming up with that. But here's the thing. To this day, people still do it. If a segment is boring to them, if a segment is not interesting to them, they'll do the what chants. Someone will be taught, what? Blah, blah, blah. What? To the point that a lot of people, understandably, are annoyed by it. Even fans, other wrestlers, they're so annoyed with it, they're like, they wish Steve had never come up with that in the first place. But you can't blame Steve Austin for that, so... And it's the segment's definitely played up for comedy. There's some funny bits where Steve is. So Vince, you ever use any toilet paper? Or Vince making Steve gargle. Your breath smells like beer. Look at my ass, not a blemish on this beautiful ass. If you don't want to kiss it, you need to gargle. And of course, what happens is Steve gives him the nut shot. The crowd pops crazy. He takes a belt and whips Vince McMahon's bare ass over and over and over and over again. Until people, the Dudleys, Kurt Angle, all the people come out and they try to stop Steve and overtake Steve, and then it ends with that. Now, again, I did not specifically see this scene because a good chunk of 2001, when Steve Austin turned heel, I'm like, I'm not interested in this. I don't care where it goes. And on the flip side, I mean, that was nearing the end of my high school days, getting ready to see what would come next, all that stuff. So I'm like, I don't need to watch this anymore. I watched a little bit with the... When was Mr. America, Hulk Hogan? I keep thinking that's 2003. Does they have that lie detector test thing? I remember seeing that. I'm trying to see if there's something that says when that took place. May 2003. So yeah. So I watch a little bit then, and then with wrestling nowadays, unless I did a paid request, which I would happily do, I don't really watch wrestling matches or pay-per-views because am I interested in stuff in the past? Yes. Are there wrestlers I enjoy? Yes. Bret the Hitman Hart, Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Macho Man Randy Savage, etc. I watch and listen to wrestling shows like Jim Cornette, Stevie Richards, Maven, a little bit of Rene Dupree, but he was gone for a while, and I don't know what's going on with him. He's bad, but I don't know. I don't really listen to him anymore. Dutch Mantel, some of his stuff. I like the host, James Romero. So I watch their stuff to get caught up. Just them talking about it and giving their opinions on it is much more interesting than watching the fucking thing. So I didn't, unless it was a paid request. But this was funny. This was funny because Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, they know how to work together. They have that chemistry. They have that vibe. They have that button heads that transcended wrestling. I mean, it became part of pop culture where people who didn't even know about wrestling, they knew about that rivalry. And it was fun to see this because I'd never seen it before. I got a few chuckles and laughs out of it, and it's always fun to see Steve Austin beating the shit out of Vince McMahon when he's not beating his own wife. Because I like Steve Austin, but there was that time where there was those allegations that he beat the shit out of Deborah, his woman at the time. I forget, it was around this time or somewhere before. And if that's true, I don't condone that shit either. It's just I don't know the full story as to what's true and what's not. It seems like that's the case. Word righteous stuff. So if so, I don't condone that shit either. But anyway, it'd be hypocritical for me to not say that if I don't want to say shit about Jim Ross. So there you go. That's why it's hard for me to fucking validate anybody. Anyway, but what did you do? With that said, this was fun to watch. Thanks once again, Tim. Hopefully this sufficed. Take care, everyone, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.